So after an 11-3 season for Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans, and an improvement for the Texas Longhorns on the defensive side of the ball, improving to 8-5 from a 5-7 season, could we see a defensive coordinator change for USC and a potential assistant from Texas going to be that coordinator for the defense of a Lincoln Riley team? But before we jump into it and talk about it, and I definitely want to hear your guys' input and thoughts about this, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Hit the like and the subscribe button because, listen, we're bringing you guys constant college football content, and I want to know if you guys kind of like these theories that we're going to throw out here. So, earlier this year, after the season, and I say earlier this year, meaning 2023, Garry Patterson, one of the most well-known college football defensive wizards of all time, after being let go by the Horned Frogs in 2021, where he was eventually replaced by Sonny Dykes, who took the Horned Frogs to the national championship, decided to step down as the Texas Longhorns special assistant to the head coach, where the question has been, is he done coaching? Will there be a possible return to the Longhorns staff, or really just take a job somewhere else? In an interview with Horns 247, Garry Patterson said, "I feel like I need to take some time for my wife, kids, and grandkids while also looking to see if I can help college football on a larger scale." But here's the deal. When you have a defensive mind like Garry Patterson out on the market, teams are going to come knocking to see what the interest would be for a Garry Patterson to come be their defensive coordinator. And this was brought up in a stream by actually one of our best members of the channel, Hank. And it was brought up about Garry Patterson potentially going to USC. And I thought, this actually makes perfect sense. This would be a great fit because you're talking about a Garry Patterson team that they've kind of succeeded at slowing down a Lincoln Riley offense and pairing it with the Lincoln Riley offense. You would expect that USC could make great strides at potentially trying to get to a national championship. Garry Patterson led the Horned Frogs to a 181-79 record in 22 seasons, collected 6 conference championships, and won 10 games in 11 different seasons with 6 AP top 10 finishes. That's pretty impressive, especially being just a defensive-minded head coach. Patterson was tasked this past season with addressing the Texas Longhorns that ranked number 100 in total defense and number 99 in scoring defense. And in 2022, he took the Longhorns to the number 54 defense, total defense, and the number 28 scoring defense, holding opponents just about 21.62 points per game. And so, coming off the heels of what you could argue one of Lincoln Riley's best coach seasons, improving the Trojans from 4-8 to 11-3 with a loss to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl, he's kind of been coming under a lot of fire for retaining Alex Grinch as the defensive coordinator, where the Trojans virtually flatlined on defense, not improving at all, coming in at number 106 in total defense. And so you're talking about another situation where, like at Oklahoma, if Lincoln Riley would have posed a top 35 defense with that talented offense, you're likely looking at a team that could win the national championship. And there's been this conversation of, does Lincoln Riley know defense? Well, he might not be one of the brightest defensive minds, but he understands defense. And it shows because his offenses are so successful. So he obviously knows a defensive scheme at some level because he's able to scheme against it. And so with Garry Patterson stepping down at Texas, which, by the way, I thought was an incredible hire for the Texas Longhorns when they got it, you have to ask yourself, if you're Lincoln Riley, and you're really trying to make strides and win the national championship, especially at USC, and returning USC to be the mecca of college football or whatever he called it, why wouldn't you call Garry Patterson, fill out that situation, and kind of ask if he would be interested in the job? Because USC is giving you all the resources that you need to go out there and win a national championship. Meaning, they'd probably move Garry Patterson's family out there. They'd probably make him one of the highest paid coordinators in the country. Because, again, you would have the expectations, if you looked at what he did to a Texas defense that in 2021 was abysmal, and what he did in 2022 to that Texas defense, and if he could do half that job at USC in his first year, you're talking about a USC team that could at least be in the playoffs. By year 2, potentially playing for a national championship. Now, I get it. It doesn't always work out the first year because, well, you got to have talent. But Texas has talent, or USC has talent. I mean, probably the most notable defensive talent piece they have on that roster, 5-star defensive back, Damani Jackson. And then you've got Cavante Henry, the 5-star edge rusher from, I believe he was in the class of 2020. You guys might have to fact check me on that one. And then, not to mention, this past season, you get one of the best linebackers in the country, Mason Cobb, out of the transfer portal. You work on bolstering up that defensive line. You got Latrell McCutcheon, who a lot of people here at Oklahoma were excited for. And so, why wouldn't you go out and see if he's interested? Because bringing Garry Patterson to the USC Trojans, that's a hire, and it makes a splash. Now, my only thing is, in that interview with Horns 247, he said that he wanted to take some time for his wife, his kids, and his grandkids, take a vacation, see what it's like after that. Well, guess what? Summer's about to be here. It really is. I mean, shoot, I looked up the other day. My wedding's it's in June. It's right around the corner. Summer's almost here. Vacations are going to be planned. They're going to start to be wrapped up. And you can bring Garry Patterson in. Maybe you bring him in to be alongside Alex Grinch. Maybe he can help Alex Grinch develop. I don't know. But if you're the USC Trojans, you got to try something. Because you're going to the Big Ten, and it's going to be harder to compete there. And so you have to be able to try to bolster that defense. So go ahead, guys. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think USC Trojans should try to go after Garry Patterson? If you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. And, you can jump down in the comments below and let me know what you think about the show.